Why did Avery vanish without a trace? When everyone thought she was safe, rain hammered the cornfields of Mason County. A white SUV sat alone on Route 48, hazard lights flickering through sheets of water. Inside, Avery Reed's engagement ring glinted, untouched. 3:17 p.m., the last signal from her phone. Earlier that afternoon, Avery had left Willow and Lace, the bridal boutique, grinning over a veil she adored. She sent her sister a photo of Lace, typing, "September can't come fast enough." 20 minutes later, her phone went dead, like someone had erased her presence. How does a bride-to-be disappear in broad daylight during a countywide storm, with invitations printed, plans in motion, and no footprints, no struggle, no explanation? Deputies initially blamed the flooding. No flood marks, no shelter sought, no mud on shoes. 4-hour delay. Fiancé Julian Mercer reported her missing hours later. He said she needed space. The storm confused everything. 3 days later, a rancher found her left shoe, upright, untouched by rain. Why leave one shoe and nothing else? Phone records. No steps beyond the SUV. Financial stressors. Recently increased life insurance, a failed land deal, mounting pressures. Surveillance. SUV moving at 3:29 p.m., 12 minutes after Avery's last phone ping. If she wasn't driving, who was? Soil inside the SUV matched a development lot owned by Julian. Search teams uncovered freshly disturbed ground there. But what had been hidden? Who moved the SUV? And why would Avery vanish without a trace? Main suspect, Julian Mercer. 3 days later, but one detail didn't add up. Last phone activity, 3:17 p.m. What did Avery hear in the last moments before she vanished? Avery's apartment was silent except for the hum of the storm outside. Her fiancé Julian Mercer's keys clattered on the counter, but he wasn't in the living room. 3:25 p.m., 8 minutes after her last phone ping, a shadow crossed the hallway. Neighbors recalled Avery laughing that morning on a call, planning a surprise party for her sister. Hours later, silence swallowed her usual brightness. Her best friend Naomi Pierce sensed something off, recounting, "She texted me, but it wasn't Avery. It was clipped, nervous, like she was being watched." The person Avery trusted most was the one everyone assumed had her back. And yet, questions gnawed at those who loved her. Why would someone leave no trace, no message, no sign of struggle, only absence? Julian's excuse, "I was at the office." But surveillance footage showed his car returning home at 3:31 p.m. after Avery vanished. Tessa Holloway, Avery's sister, discovered a torn envelope in the trash. Addressed to Avery, contents missing. Who would erase a letter meant for her? Naomi noticed subtle bruising on Avery's wrist from a previous week, quickly dismissed by Avery herself. Was she hiding fear? Torn letter. Suspicious timeline. 3:31 p.m. Something inside Avery's world had shifted in minutes. And one overlooked detail, a faint soil trace on her apartment doorstep, would send investigators down a path no one expected. Was her disappearance random or calculated from the start? If Avery didn't drive the SUV, then who did? The SUV sat in Julian Mercer's driveway, mud-streaked but eerily clean inside. 3:29 p.m., footage revealed it moving alone, away from Route 48. Inside, Avery's purse rested on the passenger seat, untouched. Neighbors remembered hearing a low engine hum just after the storm passed. Brandon Keller, Julian's friend, later admitted he'd noticed Julian texting frantically around that time. Naomi Pierce couldn't shake the feeling that the vehicle's movement wasn't random. It was deliberate, planned, like someone wanted to erase her from the day. Every step Avery had taken seemed mapped out by someone else. The fear wasn't just in her disappearance. It was in realizing that every trusted presence could hide intent. Time jump. 3:29 p.m. SUV moves. Soil inside matched Julian's development lot, untouched by rain. Forensic check. No signs Avery struggled inside the SUV. Tessa Holloway recalls Avery whispering about feeling watched during the week. She said, "I don't like being alone with him lately." Financial records show Julian recently transferred funds to a previously unknown account. Julian Mercer. Financial moves. Something hidden in Julian's lot could explain the soil match. But uncovering it would reveal secrets Avery had never imagined, and put the investigators face to face with calculated deception. Was her disappearance an accident, or a trap no one saw coming? What was buried at Julian's lot that no one noticed? Until now, search teams arrived at the development lot just as dawn broke. Freshly disturbed soil glistened from the storm, as if it had been recently moved. 3:35 p.m. The exact moment Avery vanished now tied to the lot's eerie silence. Harlan Whitaker, the neighbor, remembered seeing Julian near the lot that afternoon, carrying a large, covered object. Detective Rowan Hayes examined the soil carefully, noting impressions that didn't match Avery's shoe size. Naomi Pierce shivered, recalling Avery's last text. "I feel like someone's rewriting my day." The realization hit. Avery's disappearance wasn't random. Someone had orchestrated it down to the smallest detail, turning the life she trusted into a meticulously calculated nightmare. 3:35 p.m. Evidence timeline. Soil impressions suggested weight, not Avery's. Something or someone had been carried. Torn envelope was in Julian's trash. Naomi noted subtle scratches on Julian's SUV door handle. Could these be from a struggle or staged? Julian Mercer. Suspicious actions. The disturbed ground hinted at secrets no one expected. If investigators dug too deep, Avery's fate and Julian's true intentions would come to light. But would they uncover the truth before it was too late? Who erased Avery's last words, and why? Detective Rowan Hayes stared at Avery's phone records, now fully recovered. 3:17 p.m., the last ping before she disappeared. Multiple texts to her sister and Naomi had vanished, leaving only fragments. Naomi Pierce remembered one message clearly. "I feel like someone is planning something." Tessa Holloway felt a chill. Avery had been warning someone without naming names. Julian Mercer claimed he never touched her phone. "I was at work," he said, eyes steady, voice calm. Someone silenced Avery's voice before she could speak. The betrayal wasn't just a disappearance. It was erasing her existence, piece by piece. 3:17 p.m. Last phone activity. Deleted texts hinted at fear of someone she trusted. Security footage showed Julian leaving the apartment complex at 3:28 p.m., just after her phone went silent. Naomi recalled Avery hesitating at the door earlier that day, as if sensing danger. Julian Mercer. Questionable timeline. Deleted messages. Avery's warnings had been erased, her voice stripped from the record, and one final message, hidden in plain sight, could reveal the truth, if anyone could read it in time. Who wanted Avery gone? And why would they erase her words first? Why did Julian smile when they asked about Avery? Detective Rowan Hayes cornered Julian Mercer at the lot, soil evidence on his shoes. 3:45 p.m. Investigators demanded answers, notes scribbled frantically in the rain. Julian's calm exterior didn't crack, but his eyes flickered, just once. Tessa Holloway trembled outside the SUV, recalling Avery's final smile that morning. Naomi Pierce whispered, "He shouldn't have been able to do this." Yet he acted normal. Julian insisted Avery had simply gone for a walk, lost in the storm. His voice eerily steady. Every instinct told them he was hiding something, and the realization cut deep. Avery's life had been under threat long before the storm. Trust had become a weapon, and the people she loved most were entangled in the terror. 3:45 p.m. Confrontation begins. Soil inside the SUV matched Julian's lot. Undeniable. Torn envelope. Handwritten notes suggesting financial and personal pressures. Naomi observed Julian's hands trembling slightly when mentioning Avery's phone. Julian Mercer. Unanswered questions. Soil match plus torn letter. Julian smiled, shrugging as if to say, "What's the big deal?" Yet in that moment, Avery's absence became more than a disappearance. It was a message. Was this the end? Or just the final layer of a plan no one saw coming? How could someone so loved vanish forever? Detective Rowan Hayes stepped into Julian Mercer's development lot, the storm from days before finally clearing. For 02 p.m., the last piece of the puzzle would finally be uncovered. A glimmer of metal in the disturbed soil caught their eye. Avery's bracelet, engraved with her initials. Tessa Holloway fell to her knees, tears soaking her coat, whispering Avery's name over and over. Naomi Pierce traced the timeline, realizing every small detail pointed to Julian's calculated plan. Julian's facade cracked. Confronted with forensic evidence, surveillance, and soil matches, he finally broke. Avery had died at the lot, her final moments orchestrated with chilling precision. But her story did not end in silence. Justice arrived. Julian Mercer was arrested, life insurance fraud exposed, and the community rallied to remember Avery's kindness, laughter, and the life stolen from her. Evidence found: Avery's bracelet, 4:02 p.m., soil SUV, and torn letters confirmed the timeline and Julian's guilt. Naomi and Tessa watched investigators uncover the truth, every clue falling into place. Main suspect arrested, Julian Mercer. Justice served. Avery's presence lingered in memories, texts, and small acts of love she had left behind. Her name became a call to vigilance, a reminder that even calculated deception cannot hide forever. The storm had passed, but the impact of her life and the pursuit of justice left an unshakable mark. For more deeply emotional true crime stories and shocking cases where justice is served, and for more emotional true crime stories and cases solved, subscribe to The Veil of Secret.